Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Mossie's Corner. I wanted to start this channel to kind of get myself back into creating things, and I kind of just wanted to have fun with it. I really don't expect this channel to go anywhere. So for this episode, I think I'm just going to do a quick little intro video and do a little bit of crocheting. I haven't crocheted in a really long time, so I kind of been wanting to get back into it. I already pre-started a little chain for what I want to work on, so we'll be able to work on that. But I also thought it would be fun for an introduction video to kind of answer some questions that I had printed out. They're kind of like get to know you questions, so we can go ahead and get started with that. So let's get into it. So I'm not really sure what exactly I want to make. I think I kind of maybe want to make a blanket. I don't know. I have this color yarn. It's a really cute like yellow, pink, and purple. And then I also have this like black and white yarn, and I think that these two colors would go really cute together. So I'm gonna work on that, and then I will also start answering questions. So the first one on the sheet is, are you a morning person or a night owl? I am typically more of a night person. I would love to be a morning person though. I actually really want to be a morning person. But I do have a job where I work overnight, so it's a little hard to like get my schedule set up to where I can actually wake up in the mornings. And I actually just picked up a second job as well, so that probably will make it a little bit more difficult to become a morning person. But one day, hopefully, I would love to be a morning person, because even whenever I'm working overnights at my other job, I really enjoy whenever that like 5 a.m. 6 a.m. time like rolls around, because it's just like it's right when the sun is rising this time of year. I love like, you know, how like serene and quiet it is, and just kind of how, you know, peaceful. It's just overall peaceful. But right now, currently a night person, want to become a morning person very badly. So the next question is, what is your favorite way to celebrate something? Probably doing game nights with friends. Usually like if it's a birthday or, you know, a holiday like Halloween or something like that. Typically my friends and my fiance and we will set up a game night. We typically host a lot of them. I really enjoy hosting game nights, or really just like friend events in general. I know last year around Christmas time we had hosted a gingerbread house night, so we had invited a whole bunch of our friends to come over to come make gingerbread houses, and we put on some like classic Christmas movies like Rudolph and things like that. And you know, we just had a really good time. We made apple cider, we made gingerbread houses. They didn't turn out the greatest, but it was still a lot of fun. But even like birthdays too, like we typically have like a lot of game nights where we have friends come over, we play some music, you know, have a couple of drinks, we'll make a whole bunch of food. Sometimes we'll do like a potluck thing where people will bring food over, and you know, it's just a lot of fun. I think that's probably my most favorite way to like celebrate something. So I've already gotten like 2 little chains started. I'm thinking of like maybe doing like squares. I am nowhere near talented enough to do like granny squares. One day I want to learn. Maybe you guys will see me learn that eventually on this channel, but right now we're just doing basic crochet squares. That's the talent we got for this right now. So the next question is, what is your favorite soda? I used to be like a hardcore like Coke fan. Like I would always drink Coca-Cola all the time. But lately I've been enjoying more of like Sprites and ginger ale. I think right now my most favorite soda is ginger ale. That's typically what I go for. Every now and then I'll want like a Coke or something, but it's usually just ginger ale. I know that I have also really been getting into those like probiotic sodas. So usually the brand that I like to drink is Olipop or Poppy, and I usually will get like the lemon lime or ginger ale flavor for those. to me, they taste really good. I know not a lot of people like them, but there's just like something about them to where they're like not super sweet. But right now, my go-to would be ginger ale. The next question is, what emoji do you use the most when texting? So I laugh at everything. So I typically will use the laughing emoji the most whenever I'm texting someone. But I've actually recently switched to like an old school flip phone because I'm trying to disconnect from like my iPhone. And I actually just canceled the phone plan I had through my iPhone. That way I could stay committed to having this flip phone. So I've actually had to revert back to like the old school text messages or emojis. And those have been a lot of fun. Lately I've been using a lot of the like parentheses with a little face in the middle. If I'm able to, I'll like put a little like text grab of it right here. But usually laughing. I usually use a lot of laughing, which right now that means I'm using the whole capital XD thing like we used to back in the day. God, it sounds so old. So the next question is, what is your biggest pet peeve? I really hate whenever people like smack their lips whenever they're eating. I just don't like the sound of like mouth sounds, so I really hate it when people like smack their food. It irks me to no end. Other than that, my other pet peeve is like not keeping spaces clean. I'm a very clean person, which I can thank my mom for that because she's like a hardcore like cleaner. She keeps everything clean. Growing up, she always kept everything clean, and I guess I kind of just, you know, grew into that habit. So whenever things are really dirty, it like makes me feel so irritated whenever things are not clean. Which I know everyone has like a different form of like what clean is, but I'm talking like it looks like your bedroom is gonna be in the catalog of a magazine. Like I enjoy that level of clean. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy when spaces look like they've been lived in, but to me there's a difference between having a space that's lived in and having a space that's just trashed. For example, like clutter. Like if it was like book clutter or you know, like artwork clutter, because you know I do have a lot of art supplies, and you know some of my storage spaces are a little bit cluttered with art supplies, but to me that's significantly different than like just having trash everywhere. I hate it. It's probably the other one's probably higher than like mouth snacking. Like I don't like dirty spaces whatsoever. So next question is, what do you think the most important job is? Not to sound biased or anything, considering like what I want to use this channel for, I really do think that anything that is like art related is the most important job, because when you think about it, a lot of the world is surrounded by art. Even something as simple as architecture, like you have to have some form of like art knowledge to really properly like set up some sort of architecture plan for like buildings and things like that, or parks. So to me that's the most important job, because also without art we really would not be like a community, or you know, cultures wouldn't be developed or things like that. Which, side rant, I really hate how a lot of people are using like AI to make artwork, because to me that just like dehumanizes us as like a humanity, really. I mean, because without art, like I said, we wouldn't have cultures, we wouldn't have, you know, beautiful architecture that we have, which, you know, if you think about it, a lot of modern architecture now is just like dull and gray and very like blocky, and there's like no really like taste to it. So that is probably something that I would consider the most important job, is just anything related to like the arts, because to me I feel like it's a huge like fundamental part of like being a part of a community and being a part of a culture and things like that. Okay, so even though I haven't like done crocheting in a really long time, I'm actually really happy with how well I'm doing. I think the last time I crocheted was probably like, I don't know, a few years ago. I know that for a while I got into knitting, and I still have my very first knitting project that is unfinished attached to my knitting needles. Maybe I'll finish that eventually. It was supposed to be a scarf for my fiance 2 winters ago. Sorry, babe, you've been cold since then. But I do want to eventually finish that project. But this project I thought would be fun to start the channel out with. How do you like to spend your free time? So before I decided to start doing this, a lot of my free time I usually spent like outside. Probably is the biggest one. Like I go to the beach a lot, especially this time of year. Camping trips, things like that. My fiance and I really enjoy doing things outside, especially with friends. Our last camping trip, we went with like a small group of friends, and it was a lot of fun. Other than that, though, if I'm not sleeping, because I do try to sleep as much as possible now that I have 2 jobs, I am usually like reading or writing. I'm actually working on a novel right now that I hope to finish at some point. My goal is to probably try and finish it within like the next year or so, and I'm already about halfway through it. So, well, maybe not halfway, maybe more realistically it's like almost halfway. It's about a third of the way through. I really want to finish that because I've always wanted to publish a book, even if it like doesn't get super popular. I just have always thought it was really cool if I had something published like that. So I'm usually reading, writing, spending time outside. I also really enjoy just, watching some of my favorite shows. I'm currently rewatching a show right now that I haven't watched in a while. So that's been a lot of fun, but I do typically try to like do more things that are more like involved rather than just staying at home. What is one thing I have always wanted to learn? I have always wanted to learn how to do calligraphy. For some reason, I'm able to do so many different art things, but whenever it comes to calligraphy, my brain cannot understand how to do it. I have tried so many different ways. I've even tried doing my own like form of calligraphy just because I think it looks so pretty. And I think it would be cool, like, if I, like, did, like, handmade cards or something for someone to, like, be able to have, like, really pretty, like, calligraphy titles or, like, being able to, make holiday cards with, like, some really cool calligraphy on it. But for some reason, I just can't get the hang of it. So I want to learn it eventually, but the couple of times I've tried, I have not been very successful. So maybe that will also be something I can learn on this channel with whoever's deciding to watch. Do I prefer air or train travel? For long distances, I usually would prefer air. I do really enjoy a good like road trip, probably because growing up, my family and I always did road trips, especially when my dad worked out of state. We would always like do long road trips to like go visit him for like a couple weeks at a time, and I always thought that was really fun. So I've always really enjoyed road trips. Even now, like I really want to plan a road trip. Actually, I was actually just talking to some of my friends about it, about how we should plan a road trip somewhere, because I think it would be a lot of fun. But for something that's like a quick trip where like I need to be somewhere for like a specific weekend or something, then probably air travel. I haven't had the best of luck lately with air travel. I actually recently went to go visit my family, and whenever I went to the airport, TSA had me stuck in line for 2 hours, and I showed up 2 hours before my flight was supposed to leave, which usually is the standard. You show up 2 hours early to make sure you get through security in time. But for some reason, TSA was just really slow during this visit, and I ended up getting stuck, and they made me miss my flight. Me and actually a whole bunch of people missed the same flight. I think like 12 of us total missed our plane because of TSA. Luckily, they were able to reschedule me for another flight, but I had to sit in the airport for 16 hours to wait for that next flight. And it was awful because it was also the same day that they just so happened were testing their fire alarms. So every 30 minutes, the fire alarms would go off, and it did that for 16 hours straight, which you wouldn't think they would have to test the fire alarms that often, but I guess it's different for airports. But I never, ever, ever want to be stuck in an airport that long ever again. It was torturous almost. And I had the option of like going back home to wait for this flight, but I was like, no, I was like, I already missed my first flight because of TSA. I do not want to risk leaving this airport and missing my second flight. Like, that would be awful. So, yeah. And then as far as train travel, I usually only use the train, like, if I go somewhere close by, like if it takes me like an hour, then I usually enjoy taking the train just because I think it like is pretty relaxing and it's a lot nicer, like as far as like scenery goes. Because where I live, you can take the train into New York City, and there is actually like a decent amount of like scenery that you can see. It's not a whole lot, but there's like some trees. Obviously, you go through like a couple of like other little cities on your way there. But then it's also really nice whenever you get to see like the ocean and stuff and the river right before you get to New York City. So I really like to use the train really for like short travel like that. And also, I just refuse to drive in New York City because traffic is crazy. Okay, next question. Who is your style role model? As far as style goes, I really don't have like a specific style. I do tend to like whenever I'm like getting all dressed up, which today I just wanted to be comfortable for my first video. But as far as style goes, like when I do get dressed up, like I tend to go more for like the punky alt like look. But I do have like a range of styles. It really just depends on like my mood. So I do have a couple of different types of clothing in my closet. I know lately I've really been wanting to get more into the whole like punky alt look, just because it is like one of my favorite styles. But style role models, it would probably have to be anyone who kind of looks like alt, or like more so like androgynous like alt. So like a good example I can think of is probably going to be Shane from the L Word. I love her character. She's very laid back, she's very, you know, funny and very sure of herself, but also her style is just, I love it. It's very like early 2000s like punky alt look, and I also really love like the early 2000s like punky alt look. So that would probably be a good one that I could use as like a style role model. Other than that, I kind of just like go by how I feel. Like I style things based on like what I see or what I like or what I'm really feeling for the vibe that day. Sometimes I'll even just like do a makeup look and then base my style off of my makeup. But yeah, that would probably be a good one. What was the best meal I've ever eaten? Again, I'm probably going to sound biased just because obviously I'm going to think that my parents cook the best because I grew up with their cooking, but honest to God, the best thing that I have ever eaten and probably will ever eat is one thing from my mom and one thing from my dad. So my mom makes the best chicken and dumpling soup, and I unfortunately am not able to eat it anymore because I am a vegetarian, but I used to get so excited whenever she would make that because it was always the best thing I had ever eaten in my entire life. And then the one thing from my dad would definitely have to be his brisket. My dad makes probably the best brisket on the planet, and I used to actually help him like cook brisket whenever I was younger. Because I'm originally from the South, so if you're not sure how cooking a brisket works in the South, it is definitely like a multi-day occasion, usually resulting in like staying up overnight to like cook it. I messed up my chain. Okay, I fixed it. What is my favorite type of movie? I kind of have a lot of different like favorite genres, but my main favorite is probably going to be horror, thriller, and rom-com. I love a good scary movie. Halloween is my favorite holiday for multiple reasons, but I do love a good scary movie. Mostly thrillers though. Thrillers really get me more than like regular horror movies, just because a lot of them now are very predictable, so I just don't really enjoy them as much as I used to. But thriller movies, those are good. I could watch those all the time, and I actually really enjoy ones with like really good plots. Or like twists. Like, I love a good thriller movie with a twist that I wasn't expecting, because usually nowadays it's really hard to like do that with like a scary movie or a thriller movie, because like I said, they're kind of predictable. But that would be my number one. And then my second favorite type of movie would be rom-coms. Like, oh my gosh, I'm a sucker for a good rom-com. I think my favorite one is probably Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. That one's really funny to me. And it's like a Christmas themed movie, so I'll usually watch it around like the holiday season just because I think it's funny. But even just like romance movies in general, like I think my most favorite romance movie is probably Pride and Prejudice, the one with Keira Knightley. I love that movie so much. I could watch that movie over and over and never get tired of it. I also just love movies based in that time period. I don't know why. I just love it. It's one of my favorite like themes and genres. But if you were to ask me what my actual like favorite movie is, I would probably have to say Da Vinci Code, just because that movie, I also love movies where you really have to pay attention to like get all of the details to like understand like the whole like plot and storyline. And the Da Vinci Code is one of those movies, and I love that movie so much. I think it is very intricate, and I love how like confusing it can be like if you don't pay attention. I think I had to watch that movie twice to really fully understand like everything that was happening. And the fact that I even had to do that, I loved it. And then I think my second favorite movie is probably going to be The Giver, because I do also love like those type of movies where characters really like decide to be defiant. I think that those movies are great as well. And I also remember reading The Giver in school, and I loved the book, and I thought that they did really good on the movie as well. So those top two would probably be my two top favorite movies. What is the longest amount of time you've been away from home? It would probably have to be right now. Like I said, I moved away from my hometown back in Texas, and I currently live in New Jersey, and I moved away about 2.5 years ago, so this is definitely the longest I've ever been away from home. I miss my family a lot. I don't really miss Texas. I miss things in Texas, as like missing the actual state. I don't really miss it. I really enjoy like how different everything is up here, because I had lived in Texas like my whole life up until 2.5 years ago, and I enjoy how different things are here, and I've enjoyed like the little life that I've built here since I've moved. I do miss my family a lot though. I never get to see them. I get to like call them and FaceTime them, but it's really not the same as much as seeing them, other than like most recently when I went to go see them, which was really nice. I did love going to be able to see them for a little bit, but it's still just like not the same as being able to like readily see them whenever I want. But yeah, about 2.5 years. That's about how long I've been gone from home. Do I prefer traveling with others or going on a solo adventure? Definitely with others. I think it makes it more memorable. At one point, I would like to take like a solo trip somewhere by myself, just to kind of, reconnect with myself. Have an experience, whatever the experience may be, just kind of enjoying the time with myself. I'm trying to become more comfortable with being with myself and being with my thoughts. Which is kind of why I also decided to start doing this channel, because I have a lot of things that run through my little brain, and I would love to just talk about them. Even if no one ends up watching my channel, I really don't care. Like, I just want to have fun with myself and just talk about things. So even becoming more comfortable with being by myself, I think would be really nice. But for a trip, I think it would be a lot of fun if I did like a solo trip at some point, but I usually prefer to do trips with other people, whether it be friends, family. I just think it makes it a whole lot more memorable, and I really enjoy like being in the moment. Usually whenever I'm on trips, I forget to take a lot of pictures just because I'm just enjoying myself, which is nice because I'm present in the moment, but I also want to be able to remember the moments like later on in life. But you know, I also just enjoy, not having to worry about take pictures. What is your favorite way to kick off a day? Honestly, I love showers first thing in the morning. I feel like they really start my day off on a good note. One, I just don't like being dirty. Like I said, I'm a very clean person, but also like there's just something about like if I'm having trouble like waking up like first thing, I love immediately getting in the shower because the water wakes me up, the smells of like the soaps I use wake me up, and it just makes me feel a lot better. It makes me feel ready for the day. I do also take showers at night, but to me they're just not as enjoyable as ones in the morning. There's just something about getting in the shower like right when you wake up. It just like really kickstarts my day to like something that I know is going to be a good day. Do I speak any other languages? So my answer for that would be kind of. I obviously speak English. English is my first language. But I used to be very fluent in French because I took 4 years of French in high school. But in Texas, no one really speaks French, so I kind of lost it after I graduated, which I hate because I should have practiced after I graduated to not lose it, but I didn't because I was going to college and stuff, and I just wasn't thinking about it. But I am trying to relearn French, but in that process, I'm also trying to learn Spanish just because Spanish is the second most spoken language in this country, and I just think it would be beneficial to know. And also, I used to work in a restaurant, and a lot of our kitchen guys didn't speak English, and so I was trying to learn Spanish to make them more comfortable, which worked. I got very close with like my kitchen guys and stuff. That worked there. But I also, for some reason, thought it would be fun to learn Turkish. And I know a few words in Turkish, and I would love to be able to get to like full conversations at some point. But Turkish is a very hard language to learn. I think it's like 6 languages like mashed into one. The reason why I wanted to learn it is because whenever I had this new coworker start with me at my old job, she was from Turkey, and English was her second language. Turkish was obviously her first. And so whenever I was training her at this new job, she was asking me questions about different things for, how to say things properly in English because she didn't know, and it was fine. I didn't mind teaching her. But in the process of me like teaching her like proper ways on how to say things in English, she was teaching me how to say things in Turkish, and honestly the language like sounds really cool. And so I started learning Turkish for fun, and she got really excited when she found out I was learning Turkish. And I just think it's a really interesting language, and I would love to keep learning it, but it is very difficult. I do love like the simpler words. Like I think my favorite word in Turkish is for bread, which is ekmek. I don't know why, it just sounds cute to me, just a little ekmek. I also know how to say thank you, which I'm not even going to attempt to say it because I know I'm going to butcher it, but I do know how to say it, and I can recognize it like if I see it written down somewhere. I do think that language is very, very nice. I think it's a very cool and interesting language, and I do love that it's basically like multiple languages wrapped up into one. I eventually would love to get to a point to where I'm like learning so many different languages. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think it would be really cool and beneficial to be like multilingual. But I think I want to first get more familiar with like speaking Spanish and use Spanish pretty frequently, just because like I said, it is the second most spoken language in this country. But we'll see where I end up. I'm noticing that my square is like flaring a bit, so I need to figure out how to not do that. I guess this is where it's going to show that I haven't crocheted in a long time, because one side is more straight and then one side has like a little bubble. So I don't know how I did that, but I did it. What do I consider the most important quality in a friend? in my opinion. I would have to say honesty. I consider myself a very honest person. Sometimes I can avoid telling people my honest opinion just because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But if it really comes down to like my own well-being, then I'll be honest about things, which in turn has really bitten me in the ass in the past, because sometimes people don't like whenever I share my honest opinions. I'm never like rude about it or anything. I try to always be very polite, but you know, a lot of people don't like hearing the truth about things, especially your own feelings. But if we're gonna be really good friends, I really enjoy like an honest friend. I've had so many friends in the past where they've all lied to me or been dishonest about things, and it's just not my thing. I hate drama. I don't like being in the middle of like friend drama. So friends that are honest and good and, you know, have good hearts, like that's really what I look for in a good quality for a friend. What is my favorite memory? So my favorite memory is whenever I scared my sister. My sister probably doesn't think it's a very good memory because I did scare her pretty badly. I was just scaring her for fun because that's what you do as an older sibling. But in our house, so her bedroom, like the door lined up perfectly with the like foyer hallway, like for the front door. And at night, that hallway, even though it's short, it gets very, very dark. And I thought it would be so funny if I hid at the end of that hallway, and whenever she went to go walk into her bedroom, I like run full speed at her from the dark, because I also had really long hair at the time, so I kind of had it over my face. And I thought it was so funny because I waited and I was trying so hard not to let her hear me, because of course I laugh at everything, especially when I know I'm supposed to be doing, like if I'm doing something I'm not supposed to, I'll just start giggling. And so I was waiting there, and then she finally showed up to like go into her bedroom, and she said that she had already like been thinking, oh my gosh, someone's gonna get me from the hall. And she turned around and I immediately like charged at her and she screamed so loud, and I thought it was so funny. I think I almost pissed myself because I was laughing so hard, but I did feel a little bad because she started crying, but then she started laughing after she realized she wasn't gonna die. And I think that's probably my most favorite memory. But sorry, Layla, I know that's not your favorite memory, but I thought it was really funny, and now we laugh about it when we talk about it, so it's okay. What kind of career do I want? So I have switched my mind up a million times about what I want to do for a career. I think I've just kind of realized over the years, because I'm 25 now, I really enjoy working in the hospitality business. I was working towards becoming a manager at the restaurant I used to work at, and that ultimately just didn't work out. But I do enjoy hospitality in general, and I think I've decided at some point in the future I would like to open up my own like nightclub bar. So soon, I mean not super soon, but at some point in the near future, I do want to go back to school to get my business and marketing degree and eventually open up my own bar, because I think that that would be a lot of fun. I have bartending experience. I know what it takes to run a bar. Just because I've done a lot of research and, you know, working in hospitality for so long, and like knowing like the customer like group that I would be like targeting for this specific like bar, I know what they would be looking for, and I think that it would be something that I would really enjoy. And plus, I've always seen myself in a leadership position, and you know, I think it would just be nice to like be my own boss on my own business. So eventually at some point I would like that to be my career. In the past, I've always said that like I wanted to do art as a full-time career, which I would still like to do that. Maybe I could like do something related to art for this, but I don't know how realistic that would be. But that's why I want to do this channel, because then I could still have art as my hobby, because it is something that I am most passionate about, and I want to have more time for it. What is a weird smell that I really enjoy? Honestly, I would have to say my cat's fur, which probably sounds really weird, but my cats, and maybe just because they're mine, I don't know, my cats have such a good smell, like, in their fur, that, like, I love cuddling with them because I think they smell so good. And the best I can describe it is just they smell like cat, and not in a bad way. Like, whenever you think of, like, the smell of a cat, like, I don't know how to describe it, but that's a smell I really enjoy. Like, I love cuddling my cats because they just, to me, they smell good, and I love the way that their fur smells. And that's probably really weird, but it said what's a weird smell that I like, and that's my answer. Do I have a favorite color? Yes, my favorite color used to be purple, but then I kind of got purpled out after, like, growing up with having everything purple. Even my bedroom was purple, and then I kind of just, like, got sick of the color. So now my favorite color is yellow. Anything that I can get yellow, I will get yellow, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of the color yellow because that color just makes me feel so nice whenever I look at it. Which is funny because this yarn has yellow and purple in it. But yeah, yellow is most definitely my favorite color. And coincidentally, my favorite flower is sunflowers, and it's not even because they're yellow, it's just because I really love the way that sunflowers look, and I think that they're very pretty. Did I like school growing up? Why or why not? I did love school growing up, so much so that even when there was a short period where my mom and dad homeschooled me and my sister, I was very upset about it because I loved going to school, which the homeschooling thing ended up not working out anyways because, like, our plans had changed. So I ended up going back to public school, and I was very happy because I've always loved school. And the reason why I've always loved school is just because I've always enjoyed learning things, and I always have enjoyed, like, being a hands-on learner. And to me, being in a physical classroom was very, like, hands-on for me, and I just loved it. Like, not even because of, like, the friends or anything that I had, like, in school. Like, I just loved connecting with my teachers, and I just loved that the way that they taught things was just so fun. Even in college, like, I loved going to my college classes, especially my humanities class. I had such a cool teacher for my humanities class. She would, like, share things that were, like, really funny, or she would share her own personal stories about what she used to do before she was a professor at a college. She used to actually go and look for, like, historical artifacts in different countries, like a female Indiana Jones, and I loved learning things from her. I thought she was so cool, and she even told me at some point that I had a knack for, like, you know, respecting and, like, identifying, like, real and fake artifacts, because she did like a test to kind of see, like, who could and who couldn't identify real and fake artifacts. And I loved that teacher so much. I thought she was amazing, and that's honestly why I loved going to school so much, is because a lot of my teachers were like that growing up. And also, again, I just love learning. Like, I enjoy learning new things, hence why I'm trying to learn 3 languages at once. Okay, before I move on to the next question, I'm going to try and tie off this end of this square, just so that way I can snip this and work on the next square. My first weird square. I don't know how I do this. Even whenever I used to crochet all the time, I used to always get this, like, really weird, like, dip, and then it, like, straightens itself back out on one side. I think it's because I grab, like, the end here, and then I forget to grab the end, like, in this area, and then I remember again to do it, so then it, like, does this weird, like, wave thing. But it's okay. It'll give the blanket character. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next color. I feel like it'll just be easier if I, like, alternate colors for this. So we're going to go ahead and start doing the black and white one. I can teach you how to do a slip stitch for crocheting. It's so easy. So basically you take your little string and you, like, do a little twist like this, and you just grab your yarn and then you make a slip stitch, and it's super, super easy. And then you stick your little needle in there, and then you just tighten it. And there you go, you got a slip stitch. Who is your biggest role model? I would definitely probably have to say my great-grandma. My great-grandma is still living. I am definitely sure that she is 90 years old. She just had a birthday. Actually, she's about to have another birthday. Her birthday last year. Everyone swears that she was turning 87, but I could have swore she turned 87 like 3 years ago. So I'm like pretty sure she's 90. But anyways, that's beside the point. That woman is literally an angel on earth. She has never once judged anyone. She's always loved everyone. She's always been kind. And, you know, she's always had open arms for literally anyone who has ever walked through her front door of her house. And I want to be like that always in my life. I like to consider myself a very, you know, open and not very judgmental person. But I'm pretty sure there's things I could work on. And my great-grandma has always been just the sweetest person that I've ever known. Especially after my great-grandpa died like years ago, she was just so strong about it, and she loved him so much, but she has always been just such a strong person. And even whenever, you know, he had passed away, you know, she was still making sure that everyone else was okay. And that's just the kind of person that I want to be. I want to make sure that even whenever I'm going through my own stuff, I still remember to think about other people too. And she's fantastic. I love her. I had to go ahead and just like chain the 15 because I kept talking and I kept forgetting to count. So we started with our first chain of 15, so we're good now. What is the spiciest food I've ever eaten? So I'm not a complete chicken whenever it comes to spicy foods, but definitely the spiciest food I've ever eaten. It was purely accidental. I do like some spicy foods, don't get me wrong, like spicy Thai food. I love spicy Thai food. But this specific food item was a complete accident of me eating it because I had gotten veggie street tacos as like a thank you for like working an extra shift at work. And I thought, because usually when I get veggie street tacos from places, they put like broiled carrots like on the tacos. So they're like really soft and mushy and, you know, they're seasoned well and stuff like that. They taste good. So I had these street tacos and I saw what I thought was a cooked carrot on the side of it. And I was like, oh, it just fell out of the taco. So I put it in my taco and I bit into it. And it turns out it was actually a very, very hot pepper. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like a Thai orange pepper or something like that. I looked up the Scoville heat on that thing. An average jalapeno is about 5,000 Scovilles. This pepper, which I can handle jalapenos. Jalapenos are fine. I eat them like on things sometimes, or I eat like stuffed peppers. This pepper it said it ranged from 10 to 80,000 Scovilles. My tongue has never been in so much pain, and I don't understand how people can just eat that thing so casually because I was in pain. Like my cheeks were flushed, my forehead was sweaty, my tongue literally felt like it was being sawed in half because it was that spicy. And it was like sharp pains too in my tongue. So that was probably the spiciest food I've ever had. And I, you know, have never ever want to eat anything that spicy again. Again, I am not a wimp when it comes to spicy foods. But that pepper, oh my gosh, I felt like I was gonna die after I accidentally bit into that. And of course, my dumbass, I swallowed the bite that I took. So then my stomach was burning because I've never eaten anything that hot before. It was a whole mess. What is a silly thing you take a lot of pride in? I am actually a chronic planner. I used to not be. I used to be a huge procrastinator. Like I would wait to do things at the very last minute majority of the time, including school assignments. Even though I loved school, I hated doing homework. I think mostly because I wasn't in the classroom like doing it. Again, like I said, I'm a very hands-on learner. So I just hated doing homework. But I don't know why, like in the last couple of years, I have become such a chronic planner. So much so, I'm getting married next June. It is currently, August? It's currently August. I had already had the whole wedding planned with my fiance like 3 months ago, like well a year, maybe even over a year in advance for our wedding, which makes me happy. It's like something I'm proud of, because that wasn't proper English. It makes me happy, and it's something that I'm really proud of, because you know, a lot of people wait until the last minute to like plan for things for their wedding and stuff like that, and I pretty much already have the whole thing planned. I just have to, you know, work on paying off the deposits for a couple of things and do dress alterations, and that's it. Like, I have the dress, we already have the venue paid for, we already have the restaurant reservation made for our reception, we already have a deposit down for a party bus. Like, we already have everything planned, and it makes me very excited, because like I'm looking forward to like this huge thing that I've planned. But I also enjoy planning. Again, like I said, I love hosting things. So like last year I threw a Halloween party. I had planned that Halloween party 3 months in advance, and I decorated 2 weeks in advance, because I was so excited to throw it, and it just made me so proud, because that party ended up looking so good at the end. Like, once everyone was there and the lights were on and the music was playing, I was so proud of that party. Do I believe in aliens? Yes. Aside from the fact that like basically the government confirmed that aliens are real, which that happened this year, if anyone forgot. I already believed in aliens. I actually believe in a lot of things, mostly because I think it's fun to believe in things. Who cares if it's not real? It's fun to believe in. I believe in fairies. I believe in vampires, werewolves, mermaids, all of it. It's not hurting anyone to believe in those things. Now, I'm not like a hardcore like believer. Like, I love my dad to death, but he loves Bigfoot, and I think it's so funny that he loves like Bigfoot things so much. And I think it's cute that he like gets so excited to like watch stuff about Bigfoot, and he's like so sure that one day he's gonna catch Bigfoot. And you know, I think it's fun. Like, there's no harm in like believing things, even if they're maybe not real. Like, who knows if fairies are real? Who knows if mermaids are real? I believe they're real, but you know, even if they're not real, it's not hurting anyone. So of course I believe in aliens. Do you think you have a greater life purpose? I want to say yes. I'm not exactly sure like what that purpose is yet, but I've always, like I said, I've always seen myself in sort of like a leadership position, or like doing something that does good while being in a leadership position. Even if it's just something as simple as like, I don't know, creating a safe space for like the bar that I want to open in the future. Or, you know, doing something even greater than that, and like, you know, making myself like pretty well known like in the world, and like doing good with that. Then I don't know, I feel like I'm here for something. I don't know what yet, but I'm sure eventually I'll figure it out. I mean, I'm only 25. If I think about it in baby years, I'm just a 5-year-old adult. So, you know, I still have time to figure things out. Which of the 4 seasons is your favorite? My most favorite season is fall. It is a little tied between summer, because I do love summertime because I love the sun. But I think fall is just gonna have to top that a little bit more, because I love, especially since I've moved to New Jersey, I love apple season, because there's so many apple orchards that surrounds us, like where I live, and they taste so good. So I love apple season. Like I said before, I love Halloween, but also that time of year is like the most nostalgic for me, I think, because obviously trick-or-treating happened a lot like this time of year, or that time of year, sorry, we're not there quite yet. But also like things for school, like we did a lot of like school activities back home with our teachers around the fall time, because you know, we have Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then of course like we're prepping for like Christmas season. But I think it's just the most nostalgic for me, because it's like the one season that I remember the most fondly. I mean, I still love like summer, and I love thinking about like my memories of like summertime and like all the other seasons too, But I think fall is just the one that I like think about the most fondly, and it makes it my favorite out of all of the seasons. Have I ever won an award? Aside from like winning like normal awards at school, like honor roll awards and stuff like that, I did win a couple of like Dean's List awards in my community college where I had straight A's, so I was put onto the Dean's List, which was pretty cool. But like an actual award that wasn't school related would have to be whenever I worked at the restaurant that I was trying to become a manager at. I don't want to like say what restaurant it is because, you know, their corporate team like really checks their social media a lot, and if I even mention the name of the restaurant, then, you know, they're gonna look at it. But I really loved this specific restaurant that I worked at. I loved the parent company of the restaurant. They had a really good message for like what they wanted for their team and stuff like that. And I was actually nominated by my restaurant team and my manager to be, you know, a nominee for the Employee of the Year award for corporate. And I ended up getting selected by corporate to go to their annual conference in another state and go up on stage and win like an actual trophy award for Employee of the Year, which was probably the greatest award I had ever gotten. I was very proud of myself. I didn't think I was going to get an award working at a restaurant, but I thought it was really cool, and it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. What's one opportunity you feel like you missed out on? Probably going to a university. Obviously, like, if I really wanted to go, like, I could have, like, worked really hard with going. But once I hit senior year of high school, I kind of hit, like, a burnout patch. I still got, like, passing grades and stuff to, like, you know, get my diploma. But I kind of, like, got hit with like the senioritis essentially, where I was just ready to graduate, and I kind of feel like I like botched my own opportunity to go to university, because I had the grades to go to university. If I would have just applied myself better, I could have gone. And sometimes I get a little sad, like thinking about how I missed going to university. I think it would have been cool to like have the whole like dorm experience and, you know, making friends like with all kinds of kids from all over. But honestly, I'm not really too upset about it, because I did still go to like my local community college, and I did graduate as a cum laude for my class whenever I got my associate's degree. But I do eventually want to go back to school, like I said, to get my business and marketing degree. So hopefully I'll be able to do that within the near future. What is my favorite piece of advice? And this is actually the last question, so after that, this will probably be the end of my first video. But my favorite piece of advice would probably be look for happiness in the little things. Money will come and go, but it is not the purpose of life. And I kind of briefly talked about this towards the beginning of the video. I am trying to become more in the moment and not so attached to my phone, which is why I switched to the flip phone. But I have just kind of realized that I don't want to be sucked into like social media anymore. I want to be, you know, I want to enjoy like the little things in life. Like, I used to stress about money all the time, which I still kind of do, because money, you know, is important and everything now is so expensive. But I'm trying to not allow myself to be so stressed about it anymore. Like, I used to like really like worry myself about it all the time, and I've just kind of realized like it's not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to live and enjoy the little things. So I want to get more into doing things I'm passionate about, like art and reading and writing. I want to be able to do more things that I enjoy, like going camping, spending time with friends, spending time with family. You know, and I actually recently read that somewhere, or I heard it somewhere, I can't remember, and it just, you know, kind of made me realize that I'm not really like enjoying the purpose of life, which is simply to just exist. Like, we're not here to like get the most likes on an Instagram post. We're not here to get millions and millions of like followers on social media. Like, we're not supposed to have all these people like following along in our life, which I know is probably contradictory considering that I'm starting a YouTube channel. But I really don't expect this channel to go anywhere. And if it does happen to go somewhere and a lot of people start watching me and following me, then so be it. I'm mostly making this for myself. I'm not really making it for other people. This is just for me to have fun. And if people want to watch me have fun, then cool. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the channel. That's great. But I don't want it to become like my whole life. Like, I just want to have fun with it because I want to be able to do things that I love. So yeah, favorite piece of advice: look for happiness in the little things. Money will come and go, but it's not the purpose of life. Halfway through this square, and we have one whole square, which I think is a decent amount for how much that I was talking today. But I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm just gonna roll this up and then stick my little needle in there. That way I can save my place. But if you see this video and you happen to stick around, welcome. Again, I just plan on doing this channel to have fun, talk about random things. I'm not gonna do questions every time I like talk. I'm actually gonna like talk about random things. I just thought the questions would be good as like an introductory video and kind of like a get to know me thing. But yeah, so if you'd like to stick around, I'll see you the next time I post a video. I'm gonna try and post a video like once a week. I'm not gonna promise that right now since I'm just starting, but if you want to stick around, great. If not, that's great too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.